There's a demon living inside you. Not some carcoonish red creature with horns, no, something worse. Something human. Something familiar. It's the anger you feed. The rage that simmers in your gut when someone disrespects you. The burning in your chest when life doesn't bend to your will. It's the part of you that explodes, ruins relationships, and makes you weak. And the worst part, you keep feeding it. But what if I told you there was a way to kill it? To bury it so deep it never controls you again? To walk through fire with calm eyes while everyone else is screaming? Meet Miyamoto Musashi, arguably the most dangerous man to ever walk Japan. He wasn't just a swordsman. He was a war machine wrapped in silence. Over 60 life or death duels. 0 losses. Not because he was the fastest. Not because he was the strongest. But because he was emotionless in battle. This isn't some fairy tale. This is how one man destroyed anger and became a legend. And today, you're learning his way. 1. Anger is a puppet string and you're the toy, let's be brutally honest. Anger doesn't make you powerful. It makes you owned. Every time you lash out, every time you explode, every time someone pushes your buttons and you react, you're showing your cards. You're telling the world exactly how to control you. Musashi understood this early. He realized anger wasn't strength. It was a chain, a leash, a predictable reflex that made men easy to manipulate. Marcus Aurelius said it best. When you are disturbed by external things, it is not they that trouble you, but your own judgment of them. Read that again. Because if someone can make you angry, they can make you do anything. You're not in control. You're just a puppet, and your strings are your emotions. Musashi cut those strings. He trained himself to become immune to provocation, to walk into battle with the same stillness as a monk. No matter the insult, no matter how brutal the fight, he was always watching. Always cold. Not because he lacked emotions, but because he refused to be controlled by them. Real strength isn't how hard you hit. It's how impossible you are to provoke. That's what made Musashi terrifying. Not his sword, not his size, not his speed, his unpredictability, his void. A man with no emotional triggers is a man you can't manipulate, threaten, or break. And that is real power. 2. The day Musashi killed anger, here's a story not many know. Young Musashi, barely out of his teens, challenged one of Japan's finest swordsmen, Arima Kihei. Arima was skilled, confident, formal. He expected a duel with swords. Musashi, he showed up late with a wooden stick. Arima mocked him, laughed, taunted. Most men would have cracked, thrown a punch, reacted emotionally. Musashi, he just watched, still, quiet, calculating. Then he struck hard, fast, and killed his opponent. No rage, no screaming, no theatrics, just brutal, cold execution. Musashi didn't fight with emotion. He fought with awareness. He fought like death itself. Anger is not strength. True power is found in control. 3. The psychology of the blade. Musashi didn't just swing swords. He studied the mind. He controlled his anger. He wrote, "Do nothing which is of no use." And anger, if not used right, it's almost always useless. You think it helps you win arguments. It just shows you're weak. You think it helps in conflict. It makes your enemies smile because they know they've already got you. The mind is like a blade. Let it rust with emotion. It dulls. Keep it still, sharp, silence. It cuts through anything. 4. Why you get angry and why you'll keep losing. Let's make this personal. Why do you get angry? Someone insults you. Life feels unfair. A driver cuts you off. Here's the harsh truth. You get angry because you think you're entitled to control things you were never meant to control. You think the world owes you respect. You think people should behave how you want. You think life should be fair. Musashi would say you're attached. An attachment. It's the root of suffering. Musashi trained himself to expect nothing from the world. He walked alone, slept in the dirt. He trained not just his body, but his soul to be untouchable. No comfort, no luxury, no illusion of control. And because of that, no one could anger him. 5. Training the void. Musashi's practice of emptiness. You don't beat anger by screaming into a pillow or doing 100 push-ups. You beat it by training your mind like a blade. Here's how Musashi did it. Voluntary hardship. Musashi slept outside. Ate little. Avoided fame. He believed comfort made the mind weak, and a weak mind is easily triggered. Try this. Pick one comfort and cut it. Cold showers. No sugar. No social media. Whatever makes you squirm, kill it. Get addicted to discomfort. You'll realize most of your anger is entitlement in disguise. No reaction, ultimate weapon. Musashi would go silent for hours, days, even while training. He observed without reacting. Next time someone insults you, pause. Don't reply. I don't defend. Just watch them. The power shifts instantly. You'll feel it. Meditate on death. Every morning, Musashi meditated on his own death. Why? Because a man who isn't afraid to die can't be rattled by anything less. Musashi wrote, think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. Anger fades when death becomes your companion. What's a traffic jam or rude compared to the void? 6. Kill the ego, kill the fire at its core. Anger is ego wearing a mask. You don't get angry because the world is cruel. You get angry because your image is under attack. You feel unseen, disrespected, dismissed. But here's the truth, Musashi and inverted than anyone. Ego is weakness disguised as importance. And the more you feed it, the more fragile you become. Musashi's solution? Kill the ego. Burn it. Starve it. Leave its bones behind. He didn't care if people liked him. He didn't care if his name echoed through history. Didn't cling to praise, validation, or status. He didn't wear fancy clothes. Didn't chase approval. Didn't smile for the crowd. Because he knew this, the more you crave recognition, the easier it is to control you. The more you attach your identity to how others see you, the more power they have to break you. Musashi walked like a shadow through the world. Detached, free, silent. He lived like a ghost because he understood one thing. A man with nothing to prove is a man no one can provoke. When you kill the ego, insults become noise, criticism becomes information, rejection becomes irrelevant. And anger, it dies because there's nothing left to defend. Musashi wrote, the way of the warrior is resolute acceptance of death. When you no longer fear discomfort, when you stop needing others to act how you want, when you stare death in the face and laugh, there is no anger left. Only stillness. Only power. Let me ask you something. When was the last time anger stole from you? Stole your peace? Your focus. Maybe even your self-respect. That fire in your chest, it feels powerful in the moment, doesn't it? But later, you're left with ashes, broken relationships, missed opportunities, a voice in your head whispering, why did I let them control me like that? Here's the brutal truth no one tells you. Anger isn't your strength, it's your kryptonite. And every time you feed it, you're handing your power to someone else. But what if I told you there's a weapon far deadlier than rage? A force so unstoppable it made one man untouchable in 60 life or death battles? Not muscle, not speed, ice in his veins. Miyamoto Musashi didn't just win fights, he rewired his mind. And today, you're learning how to do the same. Picture this, you're in traffic, some guy cuts you off, your grip tightens on the wheel. Heat floods your chest. That's the demon waking up. Now imagine this instead, you notice the anger and let it pass like a cloud. No reaction, no wasted energy, just calm. That driver, he's already forgotten you exist, but you walk away stronger. That's the difference between being triggered and being free. Musashi called it the void, the space between stimulus and response where real power lies. And the best part? This isn't magic. It's trainable. Your mind is like a sword. Every time you choose stillness over screaming, you sharpen it. And think about the last time someone got to you. Maybe a coworker's snide remark, a partner's careless words. That moment your breath hitched and your pulse spiked, that's your brain being hacked. Button, and you danced. But here's what Musashi knew, anger is just unmet expectation in disguise. You expected respect, fairness, control, and when reality said no, your ego set itself on fire. Now imagine living with zero expectations. Not in a defeated way, in a godlike way. Where insults don't stick because you've already accepted humans are flawed. Where delays don't frustrate because you knew life would test you. That's not pessimism, that's armor. Let's get practical. Next time you feel that familiar heat rising, I want you to do nothing. Literally. Freeze. Observe the anger like a scientist studying a virus. Interesting, my face is getting hot. My jaw just clenched. How fascinating that words can cause this chemical reaction. Detch. This is how you starve the demon. Every second you delay reaction, you reclaim power. Start small, someone's rude at the store. Silent smile. Email sets you off. Walk first, type never. Each win trains your brain. I respond when I choose, not when they provoke. Now the real secret, the one that transformed Musashi from a hot-headed teen into a living legend, he fell in love with discomfort. Oh, floors. Hunger. Solitude. Why? Because luxury makes you soft. Ever notice how the richest people are often the most easily offended? Their cushions steal their toughness. Try this tomorrow. Turn your shower ice cold for 30 seconds. When your body screams no, that's your ego dying a little. Do it daily and watch what happens when life throws its next punch. You'll laugh where others combust. Here's your challenge starting right now for 24 hours. Be the observer, not the reactor. When anger knocks, don't let it in. Just watch it pace outside your mental door. Notice how quickly it gives up when you stop feeding it attention. And when you win. When you walk past a situation that would have wrecked the old you. That's the moment you'll feel a true power. Not the fake kind that comes from smashing things, but the unshakable kind that comes from absolute self-command. This is your awakening. That demon inside you, it's not you, it's just a habit you forgot to question. And today, you're putting it on notice. Every deep breath is a strike against it. Every moment of patience is another nail in its coffin. The world needs this version of you, the one who stays calm while chaos burns. The one who leads when others lose control. This isn't just about anger, it's about claiming the best version of your life. So tell me in the comments what's one situation where you'll practice the void this week. Let's make it real. And if you're ready to go deeper to train your mind like Musashi trained his sword, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit notification bell. Because this is just day one. The journey to unshakable strength starts now. Stay sharp. You want to know the real reason anger keeps winning? Because you're feeding it without even realizing it. Every time you replay that argument in your head, every time you clench your fists at some idiot's comment, every time you let traffic ruin your mood, you're handing over your power. But here's the game-changing truth. The strongest warriors in history didn't win by being the angriest. They won by being the most controlled. Miyamoto Musashi could stand perfectly still while his enemies screamed insults. Because he knew something most people never learn. Anger is just weakness in disguise. And right now, you're about to discover how to turn that weakness into unshakable strength. Imagine this next time someone tries to provoke you. Instead of that familiar heat rising in your chest, you feel nothing. Not indifference, total awareness. You see their words for what they really are, pathetic attempts to control you. And in that moment, you realize something powerful. They can't make you angry unless you let them. This isn't some mystical superpower. It's a skill anyone can develop. Think about the last time you lost your temper. What really happened? Someone pushed a button and you jumped. But what if those buttons didn't work anymore? What if no matter what life threw at you, you stayed centered, focused, in complete control of your emotions? That's not just peace, that's power on a level most people will never experience. The secret lies in what Musashi called the void. That space between what happens to you and how you respond. Most people live their entire lives never knowing this space exists. Something happens, they react immediately like puppets on strings. But you're about to become the exception. Here's how it works when someone insults you. Instead of firing back, take one deep breath. Just one. In that breath, you'll find the void. And in that void, you'll discover something incredible: choice. The choice to respond instead of react. The choice to be powerful instead of petty. The choice to rise above instead of stooping down. This is how legends are made. Not by winning every battle, but by refusing to fight on anyone else's terms. Now, let's get brutally honest. You've been training yourself to get angry your whole life without even realizing it. Every time you vent to friends about how unfair something was, every time you scroll through social media looking for things to outrage you, and every time you replay arguments in your head, you're doing anger's push-ups. And you're getting really good at it. But starting today, we're changing that. Because here's the truth no one tells you: calm is just as trainable as anger. The more you practice staying centered in frustrating situations, the easier it gets. It's not about suppressing emotions, it's about mastering them. And the payoff? Imagine walking through life knowing nothing and no one can shake your foundation. That's freedom most people only dream about. Your mission starts now. I want you to pick one situation this week where you'll practice the void. Maybe it's when your coworker says that thing that always gets under your skin. Maybe it's when your kids test your patience. Whatever it is, your job is simple. Notice the anger rising and don't feed it. Watch it like a scientist observing an experiment. Breathe through it. The first few times will feel unnatural, maybe even impossible. But with each attempt, you're rewiring your brain. You're building mental muscle. And soon you'll experience something magical. The moment someone tries to provoke you and you realize you just don't care anymore. That's when you'll know you've won. This is your wake-up call. That version of who gets triggered, who loses control, who gives away power to every random person who pushes your buttons. That's not the real you. That's just a habit you've outgrown. The real you is calm, centered, unstoppable. The real you can't be manipulated because you've mastered the most powerful weapon of all, self-control. And the world needs that version of you now more than ever. So tell me in the comments, what's the first situation where you'll practice the void? Let me tell you something that will change everything. Right now, at this very moment, you have a superpower hiding inside you that most people never discover. It's not about being the loudest in the room or the most aggressive. It's about something far more powerful, the ability to remain absolutely unshakable no matter what life throws at you. You think about the last time you saw someone completely lose their cool. Maybe it was in traffic, maybe at work. What did you think of them in that moment? Be honest. You didn't think, wow, what a strong person. You probably thought the exact opposite. Because here's the raw truth. Anger doesn't make you look powerful. It makes you look weak. It shows the world exactly how to control you. But what if I told you there's a way to flip the script completely? To become the person who stays calm when everyone else is losing their mind? That's not just control, that's real power. Picture this, you're in the middle of a heated situation. Someone's pushing your buttons, trying to get a rise out of you. Everyone's watching to see how you'll react. But instead of taking the bait, you do something completely unexpected. You smile. Not because you're weak, not because you don't care, but because you're so secure in yourself that their petty attempts don't even register. That's the mindset of warriors, of leaders, of people who operate on a completely different level. And the best part, this isn't about personality, it's about practice. Every time you choose not to react, you're not just avoiding conflict, you're training your mind to operate from a place of absolute strength. Here's what nobody tells you about anger, it's actually fear in disguise. Fear of not being respected. Fear of losing control. Fear of looking weak. But when you learn to detach from those fears, something incredible happens, you become truly free. Free from other people's opinions. Free from the need to prove yourself. Free to respond instead of react. This is what the ancient warriors knew, that the real battle isn't with others, it's with yourself. And every time you win that internal battle, you come out stronger. Think about the people you truly respect in life. Are they the hotheads who fly off the handle at every little thing? Or are they the ones who stay composed under pressure, who think before they speak, who carry themselves with quiet confidence? That's the person you're becoming right now. Let's make this practical. I want you to try something today. The next time you feel that familiar surge of anger, I want you to pause for just 5 seconds. 5 seconds is all it takes to short circuit the automatic response. In those 5 seconds, ask yourself one simple question. Will this matter in 5 years? Most of the time, the answer is no. And just like that, you've taken back control. This isn't about suppressing your emotions, it's about choosing when and how to express them. That's the difference between being reactive and being responsive. Between being controlled by your emotions and being in control of them. Now here's where it gets really exciting. The more you practice this, the more you'll start noticing something amazing. People will begin treating you differently. They'll stop trying to push your buttons because they'll realize it doesn't work. They'll start respecting you more because you respect yourself enough not to engage in every petty battle. And most importantly, you'll start respecting yourself more because you're no longer giving away your power to every random person who tries to upset you. That's when you'll discover the true meaning of strength. Not the ability to dominate others, but the ability to master yourself. So here's your challenge starting right now. For the next 24 hours, I want you to be the observer of your emotions, not the prisoner of them. When you feel anger rising, watch it like a scientist watching an experiment. Notice where you feel it in your body. Notice the thoughts that come with it. But don't act on them, just observe. What you'll discover is revolutionary. You are not your emotions. You are the awareness behind them. And that awareness, that's where your true power lies. This is your moment. This is where you draw the line and say no more. No more handing your power to people who don't deserve it. No more letting temporary emotions create permanent consequences. No more being controlled by things that don't truly matter. The world needs more people who can keep their head when everyone else is losing theirs. People who respond instead of react. People who understand that real strength isn't about force, it's about control. And that person, that's exactly who you're becoming. So tell me, what's the first situation where you'll practice this unshakable calm? Drop it in the comments and let's make it real. And if you're ready to take this transformation to the next level, hit that like button and subscribe, because this is just the beginning of your journey to becoming mentally bulletproof. The strongest version of yourself is waiting on the other side of this practice. Are you ready to meet them? You feel that fire in your chest right now? That tightening in your jaw? That's not weakness. That's raw power waiting to be harnessed. But here's where 99% of people fail miserably. They let that energy control them instead of learning to control it. Let me show you the secret that transformed ancient warriors into legends and can transform you into the most unshakable version of yourself. This isn't about suppressing your fire. It's about channeling it with such precision that no one will ever see you coming. Imagine walking into any situation knowing with absolute certainty that nothing and no one can throw you off balance. Not the disrespectful coworker. Not the chaotic traffic. Not even the most personal attacks. Because you've mastered the art of emotional jujitsu, turning every attempted provocation into proof of your unbreakable composure. This isn't fantasy. This is the daily reality for those who've cracked the code. And the code is simpler than you think. Your reaction is your power. Give it away carelessly, and you're just another predictable pawn. Or guard it fiercely, and you become a psychological fortress. The magic happens in that split second between provocation and response. Right there in that microscopic pause is where legends are made. Most people never even notice this moment exists. They're too busy being human fireworks, exploding loudly but burning out fast. But you're about to become the exception. Because when you start living in that pause, something extraordinary happens. People stop seeing you as another reactive target and start seeing you as someone different, unreadable, dangerous not because of what you might do, but because of what you might not do. That's when you'll feel the shift. When you realize people are carefully choosing their words around you instead of carelessly throwing them at you. Here's your battlefield test for today. When someone tries to provoke you, I want you to do something radical. Slow down time. Literally. Take one deep breath while counting to 3 in your head. In those 3 seconds, ask yourself, does responding serve my highest self? If the answer isn't an absolute yes, you win by default. This simple act will feel unnatural at first, because we've been conditioned to believe immediate reactions equal strength. They don't. Immediate reactions equal predictability. And predictable people are the easiest to manipulate. But here's where it gets truly powerful. As you practice this, you'll start noticing something incredible. The angrier someone gets, the calmer you become. Not because you're passive, but because you're playing chess while they're stuck in emotional checkers. You'll see their tactics for what they really are. Desperate attempts to drag you down to their level. And you'll be operating on a completely different plane. That's when you'll understand what true power feels like. Not the temporary high of lashing out, but the enduring strength of absolute self-command. Your mission starts now. Today, I challenge you to find one situation where you would normally react and respond instead. Just one. Watch what happens. Notice how different feels to operate from choice rather than impulse. That moment of mastery is where your new identity begins. The world is starving for people who can keep their head when everything's falling apart. People who understand that real strength isn't measured in decibels, but in depth of character. That person is inside you right now, waiting to take the wheel. So tell me, where will you claim your first victory today? Drop it in the comments and make it real. And if you're ready to join the ranks of those who refuse to be emotionally hijacked, hit that like button and subscribe, because what you're learning here is just the foundation. The complete transformation that's waiting for you in the next level. The question is, are you ready to become unplayable? Listen closely, because what I'm about to share will fundamentally alter how you move through the world. That tightness in your chest when someone disrespects you. That heat rising up your neck when life feels unfair. That's not your enemy. That's your untapped arsenal waiting to be weaponized. The greatest warriors in history didn't conquer by eliminating their fire. They mastered the art of turning it into ice-cold precision. And right now, you're standing at the edge of that same transformation. This isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming emotionally bulletproof. Picture this. You're in a high-stakes situation where everyone expects you to explode. The insults are flying. The pressure's mounting. But instead of reacting, you do something that shocks everyone. The smile of someone who's weak or doesn't care, but the smile of someone who sees 3 moves ahead. That's when you'll feel the power shift in real time. Because when you refuse to play by the predictable rules of anger, you become impossible to control. This is how psychological warriors are made, not by suppressing emotions, but by strategically deploying them. The secret lies in what Special Forces operatives call the tactical pause, that critical half-second between stimulus and response where legends are born. Most people never even notice this moment exists. They're too busy being human fireworks, loud, bright, and quickly forgotten. But you're about to weaponize this pause. Here's how it works. Next time someone tries to provoke you, I want you to physically feel your feet on the ground. Notice your breath. Count 3 heartbeats. In that tiny space, you'll find something extraordinary, complete choice. The choice to respond instead of react. The choice to demonstrate power instead of desperation. The choice to remain unshakable when everyone else is falling apart. Let's get brutally honest. Your anger isn't the problem. Your relationship with it is. Right now, you're like someone trying to put out a fire by pouring gasoline on it. Every time you replay that argument in your head, every time you fantasize about what you should have said, you're not healing, you're rehearsing weakness. But starting today, we're flipping the script. Because here's the revolutionary truth. Calm isn't something you find, it's something you build. And every time you choose stillness over chaos, you're laying another brick in your fortress of mental toughness. Your first mission is simpler than you think. For the next 24 hours, become a master observer of your own reactions. When that familiar heat starts rising, don't judge it, study it. Where do you feel it in your body? What thoughts immediately follow? What happens if you simply watch it instead of feeding it? This isn't about becoming passive, it's about becoming powerfully intentional. And here's what will shock you. The more you practice this, the more you'll start seeing anger for what it really is. An outdated alarm system trying to protect you from threats that no longer exist. Now here's where it gets truly transformative. As you build this skill, you'll start noticing something remarkable. People will begin treating you differently. Not because you've changed who you are, but because you've changed how you respond. They'll stop testing your boundaries because they'll realize there's nothing to push against. They'll start respecting your presence because you respect yourself enough not to engage in every petty battle. This is how you go from being someone who's easily triggered to someone who's psychologically untouchable. The world is desperate for people who can keep their composure when everything's falling apart. People who understand that real strength isn't measured in outbursts, but in unshakable presence. That version of you already exists. It's just waiting for you to peel away the layers of conditioned reactions to reveal it. So tell me, where will you claim your first victory today? In the comments, I want you to declare one situation where you'll practice this unbreakable calm. Make it real. Make it specific. And if you're ready to join the ranks of those who refuse to be emotionally manipulated, hit the like button and subscribe. Because what you're learning here is just the foundation. The complete mental revolution. That's waiting for you in the next level. The only question is, are you ready to become truly unstoppable? That moment when your blood boils and vision tunnels, that's not weakness. That's your primal power trying to break free from the cage of modern conditioning. The world wants you reactive. It profits from your outbursts. Every algorithm, every provocator, every petty tyrant of daily life feeds on your predictable reactions. But today we're flipping the script. What if I told you that your greatest weapon isn't what you express, but what you refuse to? That the most powerful response isn't a counterattack, but absolute unnerving composure. This is the art of psychological warfare turned inward, and mastery begins the moment you realize every emotional trigger is just a training opportunity in disguise. Imagine walking through your day with the serene certainty of a storm's eye, chaos swirling around you while you remain perfectly centered. That coworker who needles you, that stranger who disrespects you, that endless parade of daily frustrations, it become nothing more than live fire exercises for your evolving mental discipline. Here's the revolutionary truth: every time someone fails to provoke you, they inadvertently strengthen you. Their attempts to shake you become the weights that fortify your emotional core. This isn't suppression, it's alchemy, transforming base reactions into golden self-control. The magic happens in what special forces call the decision point, that microscopic gap between provocation and response where ordinary people lose themselves and extraordinary people find their power. Most never notice this moment exists. They're too busy being puppets to their amygdala, jerking on emotional strings laid down by evolution. But you're about to become the exception. Here's your field manual. Next time you're triggered, I want you to physically feel your back teeth come together. Notice your tongue against the roof of your mouth. Count exactly 4 breaths. In that tiny space, you'll discover something extraordinary. You are not your emotions. You are the will that chooses whether to unleash them. Let's expose the brutal truth. Your anger isn't some uncontrollable force. It's a habit you've rehearsed thousands of times without realizing it. Every mental replay of past slights, every imaginary argument in the shower, every social media outrage binge. These are all training sessions in losing control. But starting today, we're installing new programming. Because here's what the emotionally invincible know. Composure is a skill. And like any skill, it strengthens with repetition. Your mission: become a black belt in the martial art of non-reaction. Your first training exercise is deceptively simple. For the next 72 hours, become an anthropologist of your own anger. When that familiar heat rises, don't judge it, dissect it. What precise physical sensations accompany it? What irrational beliefs fuel it? What happens if you simply observe it, like a scientist watching lava flow? This isn't passivity, it's strategic detachment. And here's what will shock you. The more you practice this, the more you'll recognize anger for what it truly is, an evolutionary relic trying to solve modern problems with Stone Age solutions. Now here's where your transformation becomes visible to the world. As you cultivate this skill, you'll start noticing something profound. People will unconsciously treat you with more respect. Not because you've changed your personality, but because you've changed your presence. They'll stop pushing your buttons because they'll find the buttons no longer work. This is how you evolve from being someone who's easily manipulated to someone who's psychologically sovereign. The modern world is starving for people who can maintain their center while everything spins into chaos. People who understand that true strength isn't about dominating others, but about mastering oneself. That version of you isn't some distant ideal. It's who you become each time you choose response over reaction. So tell me, where will you plant your flag of unshakable composure today? Name one specific situation in the comments where you'll practice this discipline. Make it real. Make it immediate. And if you're ready to join the ranks of those who refuse to be emotionally hijacked, hit that like button and subscribe. Because what you're learning here is merely the foundation stone of your mental fortress. The complete architectural plans for unbreakable psychological strength. Those await you in the next level. The only question that remains is, how invincible do you dare to become? This is your moment of truth. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Right now, the life you've been waiting for isn't some distant destination, it's a decision buried deep in your chest, waiting for you to finally set it free. You've spent enough time reacting, enough energy on battles that never mattered, enough days giving your power away to people who didn't deserve it. That ends today, because what you've just uncovered isn't just knowledge, it's a weapon. A weapon forged in the fires of self-awareness, sharpened by discipline, and wielded with the precision of someone who no longer fears their own emotions. The world doesn't need another loud voice lost in the chaos. It needs your steady, unshakable, impossible to ignore because of its quiet, terrifying strength. Imagine looking back a year from now at the person you used to be, the one who got swept up in every storm, who gave their energy to every passing insult, who let the world dictate their state of mind. That person will feel like a stranger, because the version of you that's emerging now doesn't just handle pressure, it thrives in it. You'll walk into rooms and feel the shift. Not because you're the loudest, but because you're the most composed. Not because you demand respect, but because you radiate it without saying a word. This is the power you've always had but never fully claimed. And it starts with one irreversible choice, the choice to never again let anyone live rent-free in your mind. Think about the last time you lost your temper. Really think about it. What did it cost you? Your peace? Your dignity? A relationship? A missed opportunity? Now multiply that by every unnecessary outburst, every sleepless night spent replaying arguments, every moment of regret after saying something you couldn't take back. That's the tax you've been paying for a life on autopilot. But today, you're cutting off the supply. From this moment forward, you're no longer a puppet to your impulses, you're the master of them. And that changes everything. The people who've shaped history, the warriors, the leaders, the unstoppable forces of nature, they all shared one trait: an iron grip on their emotional energy. They didn't waste it on trivial battles. They saved it for what truly mattered. And now, that skill is yours. Every time you pause instead of react, every time you breathe through the fire instead of fanning it, every time you choose silence over screaming, you're not just avoiding conflict. You're building a fortress of mental resilience that nothing can penetrate. And with every brick you lay, you become more powerful. Now multiply that by every unnecessary outburst, every sleepless night spent replaying arguments, every moment of regret after saying something you couldn't take back. That's the tax you've been paying for a life on autopilot. But today, you're cutting off the supply. From this moment forward, you're no longer a puppet to your impulses, you're the master of them. And that changes everything. The people who've shaped history, the warriors, the leaders, the unstoppable forces of nature, they all shared one trait: an iron grip on their emotional energy. They didn't waste it on trivial battles. They saved it for what truly mattered. And now, that skill is yours. Every time you pause instead of react, every time you breathe through the fire instead of fanning it, every time you choose silence over screaming, you're not just avoiding conflict. You're building a fortress of mental resilience that nothing can penetrate. And with every brick you lay, you become more powerful. Now multiply that by every unnecessary outburst, every sleepless night spent replaying arguments, every moment of regret after saying something you couldn't take back. That's the tax you've been paying for a life on autopilot. But today, you're cutting off the supply. From this moment forward, you're no longer a puppet to your impulses, you're the master of them. And that changes everything. The people who've shaped history, the warriors, the leaders, the unstoppable forces of nature, they all shared one trait: an iron grip on their emotional energy. They didn't waste it on trivial battles. They saved it for what truly mattered. And now, that skill is yours. Every time you pause instead of react, every time you breathe through the fire instead of fanning it, every time you choose silence over screaming, you're not just avoiding conflict. You're building a fortress of mental resilience that nothing can penetrate. And with every brick you lay, you become more powerful. This isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming emotionally intelligent in a way that most people never will. It's about recognizing that anger, frustration, and impatience are signals, not sentences. They're red flags waving to get your attention, not green lights to self-destruct. When you feel that familiar heat rise in your chest, you'll no longer see it as a call to arms. You'll see it as a reminder. This is where the old me would have lost. This is where the new me wins. And here's the secret no one tells you. The more you practice this, the less you'll need to. The neural pathways that once led to outbursts will weaken, and new ones, stronger, more disciplined ones, will take their place. You'll start to crave the high of control more than the fleeting rush of reaction. You'll become addicted to the power of restraint. And soon people won't just notice. They'll adjust to you. They'll stop pushing because they'll realize you can't be moved. They'll stop testing because they'll see you can't be rattled. That's when you'll know you've won. But this isn't just about you. It's about the ripple effect you'll create. When you master your emotions, you give everyone around you permission to do the same. Your calm becomes contagious. Your strength inspires. Your presence elevates. Imagine the impact you'll have on your family, your friends, your colleagues, simply by refusing to play by the old rules. You won't just change your life. You'll change the lives of everyone you touch. So here's your final challenge, the one that separates those who dream from those who do. For the next 30 days, I want you to live as the person you're becoming. They'll adjust to you. They'll stop pushing because they'll realize you can't be moved. They'll stop testing because they'll see you can't be rattled. That's when you'll know you've won. But this isn't just about you. It's about the ripple effect you'll create. When you master your emotions, you give everyone around you permission to do the same. Your calm becomes contagious. Your strength inspires. Your presence elevates. Imagine the impact you'll have on your family, your friends, your colleagues simply by refusing to play by the old rules. You won't just change your life. You'll change the lives of everyone you touch. So here's your final challenge, the one that separates those who dream from those who do. For the next 30 days, I want you to live as the person you're becoming. Not when it's easy. Especially when it's hard. When someone cuts you off in traffic, smile. When a coworker tests your patience, breathe. When life throws its worst at you, stand firm. And with every small victory, you'll feel it, the unshakable confidence of someone who's no longer ruled by their emotions, but who rules them. This is your awakening. The excuses are gone. The distractions are over. The only thing left is you and the life you're ready to claim. So tell me right now, in this moment, what's the first situation where you'll prove to yourself that you've changed? Write it down. Speak it aloud. Burn it into your mind, because that moment is your starting line. And the finish line. A version of you so powerful, so disciplined, so unbreakable that the person you are today won't even recognize them. The journey doesn't start tomorrow. It doesn't start when things calm down. It starts the second you finish reading this. The world needs more people who can't be shaken. More leaders who can't be baited. More warriors who fight with silence instead of screams. That's your calling. That's your destiny. And it's waiting for you to say yes. So what's it going to be? Will you close this video and return to the same patterns? Or will you step into the arena and become something greater? The choice is yours. But remember, every legend, every icon, every unstoppable force of nature started exactly where you are right now. With a decision. With a commitment. With the unwavering belief that they were meant for more. You are no different. The only question left is, how far are you willing to go? Drop a comment with I am in if you're ready to begin. And if you're serious about transforming not just your mind, but your life, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this is just the beginning. The real training starts now. Welcome to your evolution.